guys, it's me T coming at you with a brand new reading. This is for 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today and up until 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Let me just, thank you. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so, alright. Here's the Miss Yang card. Woohoo! That one flipped and I caught it. Oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, I don't know why this is this is fucking fundamental. Wow, this is nuts. This is really nuts. Okay. So, this is very interesting. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab some water because I'm always thirsty. Okay. So, and I shouldn't say I'm always thirsty, but it's really good to have water near me at this time. Whenever I'm doing readings, I need it. Alright, so basically there is a lot of change coming through. And this is for my own personal feelings. Is that there's a lot of change coming through. It could be where it's a little unbearable in terms of either boredom and or you're not sensing that the universe is moving fast enough for you, okay? But literally it's because you just need to take a pause, okay? So you might be a little just antsy or just frustrated with you know, how things have been, and you're sensing that things aren't moving. But the whole thing is, this is how I perceived it this morning, is if you know you have new food that is being replaced, that is replacing old food all the time in your fridge, if you're blessed enough for that, right? Not all of us in the US have that fucking, you know, luckiness, so if you do, God bless, right? And that's in any way possible. But so if the one thing that is that seemingly is a change in your life is the food in your fridge, in terms of just getting turned over in a normalized way, just know that that is the change that needs to happen. That is what you look towards to see that, you know what, change is happening each and every day, even if seemingly your days look the same, right? So again, I want to say today's a day of huge stability. So I feel like those people that are not used to stability are kind of, and it's like me, I'm not used to stability all that much. I'm used to chaos, right? But the whole thing is, I love stability and I'm built for stability, but the whole thing is, it just it hold on one second. Oh, that's what's bothering me. Okay. The whole thing is, sometimes it doesn't seem like the work that you're putting in towards stability is creating enough of it, and or sometimes it's toxically or chaotically a little too stabilized, where you're just dude, there's no movement in the right direction, right? And I don't know if that's how I actually want to put it, but or keep it separate or keep it together, whatever, but you know, to each its own. However, this is such a beautiful reading because today is, so after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, it's about love and marriage and connection and that type of quote-unquote stability, right? Healthy stability. And then the next card is going to depict up until 3 p.m. Saturday Eastern Standard Time, of which Saturday is all day helpful people in travel, okay? So the whole thing is, this is kind of wild because out of like seemingly no movement, and this is just super interesting. So I'm gonna just say out of seemingly no movement, which is basically Spirit had me kind of divvy up the cards a little bit differently today, where it's kind of like the middle of the deck after having shuffled out all the cards. It like maybe mediumship wise you sense a no exclamation point, like damn, nothing is really moving. Like there is a no exclamation point type of energy going on with, like, I guess the mediumship peoples out there that are like, what the fuck is going on? Like there's like no, it doesn't seem like you feel like you're pushing towards like, you know, good change, but like it's really kind of, or it feels that like, and I'm not going to say feels, I'm going to just say it's weird because there's like an ego way of seeing it, which is there's nothing going on, which is you're like, what the fuck is that, you know, which is not, it's like a deep pause is what I want to kind of label it as, right? Where there's like nothing going on, you're like, what the fuck is that, right? But it's kind of like, you know, when and maybe a planet is retrograde, but you know when like you have to stop in order to make a change. So like when you, I'm thinking of planets going in retrograde, and or when you're like driving a car and you have to stop to kind of, you know, like shift in forward movement or backward movement or whatever, right? Like sometimes the car has to just stop. And so I feel like the car is, I feel like you're feeling like the car is stopped and there's no shift in change going on, whether it's like forward movement or backward movement, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like why is it such a long pause in the stop when, you know, if you are driving, you know exactly, like, I'm stopping the car for a certain thing to do in the next moment, and then you do it, right? So you're thinking logically that there's like nothing going on, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like the ethers has a lot more going on than you expected. It's kind of like the yin to the yang. So it's kind of like there might be all too much going on in the ethers where you look like, you know, where down below it looks like kind of darkness and nothing is going on. This is so interesting because the no card literally depicts that. It's a person by themselves. The card literally is like 25% an earthly person being alone by themselves, and then like 75% of the card is basically like so much going on in the ethers, you know what I'm saying? So that's such truth, you know what I'm saying, in terms of what's going on. Also, I'm gonna say that this is more so when I say deep stop or deep pause, it's like in the heart chakra, there's like a healing that's going on, that's been going on for like far too long, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here, you know what I'm saying? When usually maybe sometimes healing for you doesn't take all that long to like kind of get back towards yourself again, right? So it's very interesting. I just think that we just have to kind of ride it out, because the interesting card for today that's coming up is, and this card that I'm about to share, it represents the love, marriage, and relationships, is aspect of life. So this card says big happy changes, right? And I always love this card. This card is a transformation. Definitely happiness is standing out. So something of joy is really coming through. I actually saw joy as a symbol earlier today, too, that popped out at me. So I just feel like that's definitely that is definitely going on, you know what I'm saying? Happiness, joy, it's definitely gonna, I think I'm gonna even just say pop out of nowhere, because that definitely wants to come through. Also, the happy midway card of today, by the way, is and this is the transition between today and tomorrow, is romance, which makes so much fucking sense, right? Like, it's just so, like, in congruence with fucking, you know, the labeled energies of today, which is so fabulous. So then, and that's on the interior, so you're feeling, there might be like on the inside you might be feeling like you maybe you want romance, maybe you want love, maybe you're yearning for something, for it to give and receive love, or receive and give love, you know, and that's including yourself, obviously. But then there's also, like, I think if you go deeper inside the heart, it's like maybe you're like going back and forth on making an approach towards something that you think is for you and is for the good of others as well, but like there's something holding you back that's saying absolutely not. No, it's like there's something holding you back from doing what you think would be best to go about doing. But I'm not sure. And it's not that I'm not sure, it's I think that you're not sure on the inside, which also includes me too. I think that's just kind of like something, like there's an idea that you're toying around with, that really kind of has a lot to do with love, but you just don't know if it's the right thing to do just yet. So it's like you're going back and forth. But the whole thing is, very interestingly enough, Helpful People in Travel is tomorrow, right? Because I think, oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm completely sorry. We're in Thursday going into Friday. So, sorry. I said it at the beginning of the thing, Helpful People in Travel, but it's not. We're Thursday is what I said in terms of the love, romance, and marriage and relationships, right? And then Friday is the future, which it's future, it's creativity, and it's children. So I apologize for that. And the card that depicts that is actually abundance. So that is so cool, because you get to kind of, I'm hearing you get to kind of play around. I don't know why that wanted to come through. You get to kind of play around now, where maybe with all this excessive abundance, it's like you have more than enough to literally, like, you know, have your cyclical bills be paid, but then also, oh, Spirit's showing me romance. It's like, oh, okay, maybe there's like, not only are you receiving maybe abundance, which is money, but also it could be so many other things, right? You are also receiving, it's like time for you to receive an abundance of romance as well. So I feel like this big happy changes is like super amazing, because, and I'm seeing the Helpful People in Travel in all of these cards, in all 4 of these cards that are coming out. So basically what I wanted to say is, by Saturday, which is the Helpful People in Travel, there might be a leap of a peaceful resolution, a leap of faith, a leap of just inner peace that's going on. You know what I'm saying? The romance card, it can definitely be romance in terms of, you know, 2 people coming together. And I always like to see it that way, like, you know, at face value. But I also want to let you know that this card also can depict in a way of, like, you're feeling maybe more in touch with yourself, more in alignment with yourself, more loving, more self-loving within yourself. So it's like kind of, there's like a show that I'm watching, and it's like this guy Jesus is talking about, like, whenever you see the hat on the door, that means it's Jesus time, right? Like a Jesus personal time. And like the whole thing is, it's like you might just need to have a little bit more of your time to yourself, for whatever it is you need to do for yourself, just to kind of, you know, get you reconnected back into the aspect of just stabilize love within yourself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I just feel like there's just going to be a lot of things that you kind of need to do on your own. And I think this no also is, the no exclamation point is like, it's like, I think you might be giving me time to yourself, but you really might be, your energy might be very like shut off or closed down to other people as of right now. And it may not be so much you, but it may be like spirit or your angelic realm kind of like just extra shielding you, because you are about to receive such delight in your life, right? So, and they want it to be all good. So I think, and it's, since it's all deserving and they want it to be prolonged, I think there's an aspect of you being shielded. So this like me time that seems a little bit prolonged, like you're like, okay, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why do I feel like maybe I've entrapped myself or something along those lines? And there was a confirmation that it's like really not that you're entrapping yourself. It's more so that you're like just getting acclimated to these new changes, because that's what's happening in this deep, longer period of a pause that you're maybe not used to, because there are big happy changes coming your way. So you're kind of like, you're needing just to get, like, it's gonna take just a little bit of a longer time to get acclimated to, you know? So I just damn, it's such a confusing type of energy that it's like. And here's what I also want to say. I also wanted to say here is that there's somebody in your vicinity that is of lack mindset. And I think you're just growing out of it to where that toxicity no longer kind of works with you. So you absolutely have to say, in the deepest depths of your heart, you have to say, no, absolutely not, right? To this person who may be asking you for different things, of which could be an abundance of your positive energy, your positive joy is coming through. You know, there's something, and maybe they're DNA related, so they could be blood related, but I feel like they're like always pulling on your infinity of it, because you are so abundant in terms of being in touch with yourself. This person is always like acting like as if they're like extra poor around you just to receive more of it, instead of unlazying themselves and making more joy for themselves, right? So I feel as though there is a absolutely not, no, like you're either declining, you're getting rid of this weird ass fucking negative energy, toxic energy around you. You're basically being blocked and shielded from anybody's lower vibration and or lack mindset when it comes to any type of abundance, right? Where it could be positive energy, it could be monies, it could be whatever, you know. Also, you might be wanting to give towards somebody, and somebody says, no, you don't, like, no, like, they don't, like, as if it's like a positive thing. You know, when somebody like declines you and you're like, no, you don't need to do that. I feel like that's what's going on too. It could be either way. It could be like no, you don't have to do that, and so you're kind of like, holy shit, like that's pretty awesome, because you were going into a situation where you were expected to, let's say, pay for something or whatever it may be, and somebody's saying, no, you don't have to do that, right? And you're like, oh shit, like that's pretty awesome, because I could use this money to, you can allocate the money towards something else, or you can, you know, allocate your time and your energy towards something else. So it could be like no, you don't have to come into work today, or no this, or no, you know. So, and that would make more room for what it is that you need to basically be more committed to in terms of what you love. So hence the romance card. That's what I'm reading right now. So guys, I don't feel like I need to, like, I don't feel like I really need to in-depth read any of the positive cards ever, because I like to just take them at face value. And I think that it's also best just to keep it as clean as they are, and just keep them in mind in terms of how things can just go your way and or better. So, you know, and I think it's a time of releasing a lot of the negative and putting up boundaries within yourself. I think that's what's going on. It's like you're getting a lot of this solid time with you and yourself to put up way more boundaries with yourself, of which you are outgrowing. Like, no, hell no, I'm not ever doing this again. You're like, every prayer at this point is super priceless and super adamant, that I think that's where the no exclamation point is coming in. It's like your prayers are so super adamant right about now, that because there's a closeout happening, right? Closeout in terms of like one door closes, another one opens. Like, it's like before that door closes, you're trying to pump out as much like boundaries as possible. Like, no, hell no, I'm never having that in my relationship. Hell no, that's never going to be tolerated. Hell no this, hell no, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's you're establishing your boundaries through the hell no as the door is closing, so that you can receive way more joy. Thank you, Spirit, yet again for that confirmation. Way more joy as the door opens to something, to the big happy changes that are happening today. So there is a mediumship type of transition that, like, we might be a little saddened by, that we still have to kind of put the work towards it into, but like, it's a really good happening, of which and why it's happening, right? So yeah, that's what I'm getting. That is basically it. So enjoy the big happy changes, enjoy your interior, how you're feeling romantic with yourself, and just like, I guess more deeply, what's the word I'm looking for? Not intimidated, but like when you're more not insecure, when you're more when you're going deep within yourself. I forgot what it's called. Like when you're intimate. Thank you. So yeah, so it's more of just like a intimate, just enjoy your intimate time, with yourself. I think that's like super big, and yeah, and super to be celebrated, rather than like you feeling like you are and I think there's so much light, right? This is like, and there is light. I'm looking at the light. There's so much light coming through, from the heavens, that I think whenever there's a lot of light coming through, like, it really seems, like, for instance, 1111 is a portal that's coming up, you know what I'm saying? And that's all about, like, stability, but also all about a lot of love. So it's very interesting, because I feel like there's a whole bunch of light coming in preparation of that, and sometimes that seems like there's a little bit of a darkness to it, because of the fact that, like, and when I say darkness, I mean like also like fears that are bubbling up, and so those fears that are bubbling up are kind of preparation to, your boundaries, to transmute those boundaries and those fears into a whole bunch of more love, so that you can also, make sure that stabilizes within your life prior to you meeting anybody, or finalizing things with anybody come the near future. You know what I'm saying? So again, there is a whole bunch of like coming in, but and there's no buts. It's just like more so like, it just looks like it's kind of like like as if the sun is shining so bright, and there is a dream coming through, but the dream is like, I heard this recently, there's a reason why you feel a lot of fear sometimes when you're very close to what it is that you want to get. Somebody had said, if the sun shines on a bottle, right, and the bottle creates a shadow, the shadow is as big as that bottle, which basically the shadow represents your fears, and the bottle could represent like a dream of yours. So the closer you are to the dream that you want to have happen, the more of that equal size to that dream fear or shadow that you might sense coming from the light, really, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the origin, rather than the dream itself. The dream is standalone, right? And so that's what I learned just recently, and I like that because it makes a lot of sense. So you definitely could be very close to a dream of yours that's like standalone and like is super like ready and waiting for you, for you to kind of receive it. But you're like having to, in Scorpio season, you're having to also, dig out everything at the root of what would kind of self-sabotage you, because that's also during Scorpio season. So it's going to take a little time. And also, in Scorpio season, you're kind of like liking the shadow a little bit. You're liking the unknown a little bit. At least I am. I like the unknown. So the whole thing is, it's like, you're hanging out, I think, with like more so the unknown, which is the God, but also it could be like at nighttime, it's the unknown, the galaxy of which is like, just dark, you know what I'm saying? So like the potential could be really vast. And you could really be deeply in your feelings, but it doesn't mean that you can't transform those deeper feelings that are seemingly negative into boundaries that you need to be putting up before you meet your potential potential mate, you know what I'm saying? So you could be watching movies or watching things like that where it's like, giving you the ideas of how to work things, you know what I'm saying? And I really want to say here, it's really like traditional versus transitional versus modern. Okay, so that's what I want to let you know. Like, I feel like, the traditional, a lot of people are very quick to kind of throw out, because they kind of want to be, super evolved and more modernized and things like that, which, I understand that. But at the same time, tradition sometimes, and a majority of the time, is actually super right, energetically wise, right? So, and I'm saying right because I believe that it's right, but at the same time, it's okay to not be so yin and yang. It's okay to blend both, like I was talking about in one of my other videos. It's okay to blend, with decor or with the towels that showed up in my world, like the dark green towel with the neon green towel. Like, it's okay to blend the two as like a decor and or as a thing to do in your life, right? So it's kind of like, it's like, don't be afraid of being transitional instead of having to choose like black or white, you know what I'm saying? Like, which is the traditional versus the modern. Like, that it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think both need to be taken into account of, but at the same time, transitional is how you kind of get there in the most joyous way, instead of such like aspects of like having to just, I don't know, rip off the band-aid really quick. Like sometimes that's not necessary all the time, like that's a lot of pain, for instance. When really transitional is kind of like with ease and grace, that you can do things. Like, I think also with that, I mean quick and slow, like slow and quick. So like traditional, I feel like it could move, well, depending on how you look at it, but I want to say traditional could be slow and modern could be really quick. But like, if you go at a medium pace, bro, like you're still going forward. You're still, and you're honestly taking in everything that needs to be taken into account for, so that when you do make faster moves, you are not blind to the fact that, there were other factors at play as you make those moves. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I wanted to say here, is like, that's the medium pace is the transitional, and the medium pace is okay to take, instead of just going, you know, thinking even that like, oh, if you don't go fast, that means slow. No, if you don't go fast, that means you can go slower, which makes you medium pace rather than slow, you know, like full blown slow. You know, somebody just sneezed in the next room, which means it's confirmation. Anyhow, so yeah, try to condition yourself with the whole medium pace movement rather than, you know, choosing, well, I have to go really quick with this, well, I have to go a little bit slower with this because, you know, you have to play it safe all the time. So try to make your moves where you're like literally doing a little bit of both, you know, taking both into consideration, and that is the pure joy. That's the Midway Happy Way, you know. And that's also living for yourself and not for others. P.S. That's what I wanted to add in there. So, you know, going slow, you could be living for, you know, your parents, your guardians, you know. And then going quick could be, oh, you're living for others to show them that you could do it. And it's like, you're allowed to live at a medium styled pace so that you can take it all in. And you can go at whatever pace you decide to go at. You know, your foundational should be possibly medium. And then, you know, take everything for what it is that you have to take it for in terms of, like, decision making. Like, some things have to move a little quicker. Some things have to move a little slower. Some things have to be let go for, you know, a natural medium pace, you know. So it's kind of like you have to kind of not acclimate, but you have to assert yourself at the pace of which not you yourself would want things to go at, but what is at hand that you're speaking about that actually deserves to go at whatever pace it needs to go. So whether it be a project or, you know, a pregnancy even, which is kind of sort of like a project too, right? So like, that's why I'm all about, like, when doctors say to induce a baby, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, to me, it's like kind of crazy. And it's kind of also crazy that like every mom, like not every mom, but like nowadays, like there's like no one standing up for their kid to be like, no, let my kid fucking do its thing. Like, I don't know. It's so interesting to me. It's so interesting, like, how we're, like, forcing babies to come out. And I would understand if there's, like, certain, like, you know, things that are, like, not good for the baby if it were to stay longer or whatever. But also, I'm going to tell all the doctors, too, like, you know, really be sure of what you're telling your patients, because of the fact that just because you're a doctor and you know a lot of shit doesn't mean that you could use your knowledge in terms of a negative sense for yourself. Like, oh, if a doctor knows that they're going on vacation, you know, like, you know, sooner than later, that means they have to, like, induce a baby to have it come out. It's like, bro, it's not even on top of you. Like, I mean, I don't know how that world works. Like, maybe they get paid for every baby that they deliver. I don't fucking know. But my whole thing is, like, let things happen naturally for some people in terms of at least, like, where the happiness lies. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's okay, you know? For a lot of the times, like, I never understood that. I'm like, I would so fight for my kid to be like, yo, I understand that the doctor wants what they want, but also I am a mother with intuition, right? Or, like, I would be a mother with intuition, just like every mother is. And, like, I feel like it's time for, like, people to fucking speak up about their intuition, to be like, no, just because the doctor gave me, like, you know, a certain date to induce my baby at doesn't mean I'm gonna fucking abide by that shit. Like, I don't think that that's right, honestly. But that, you know, like I said, if it's for the health of the baby, health of mom, I completely understand that. But I pray to God that, like, doctors aren't using it in a negative way for their own kind of, like, I'm gonna say, very surface-based level bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, oh, like I said, like, if they have a vacation to go on, they have to have this baby delivered by so-and-so date. It's like, yo, let fucking shit happen. And here's why I'm saying this, is because it's all karma. People don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is, I think it's very important for you to just let a baby do its thing in terms of, you know, normally going through its process and then being delivered at whatever pace it needs to, you know, be delivered at. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just like, you know, a lot of us are like kind of just giving into the whole modern thing without thinking about like, you know, the consequences of which you might have to fucking, you know, also live through alongside that quote unquote baby or that project or whatever if you kind of go a little too quickly, you know? So it's always, like they said, you could always add, right? Isn't it in cooking? Like, I think that's a rule in cooking. You can always add to it, but you can never take it back, right? So the whole thing is, you know, that's the same with pace. You can always get to a quicker pace if you just choose to go a little bit slower, you know what I'm saying, which is the medium pace. You can always add the pace to it. But if you go all too quick, you really have no fucking other choice other than to fucking eat shit. You know what I'm saying? But, or like, let's say, like, so with cooking, right? If you add too little salt, you can always add more salt. But like, if you add all this fucking salt, you can never take back. You're gonna have to eat or throw out what you created. Literally, that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So depending on like, you know, what you can handle and what you're like willing to fucking do, you know, I'd definitely throw it out. I'd be like, thank you God, sorry for the mistake, and I'd throw it out. Excuse me, hold on 1 second. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like you can never, so and same thing with like temperature, like if you're too hot, right? You can't really cool the fuck down unless you like that's why I always said I rather be cold so I can add layers, but being too hot is like you can't really do anything about it except stop in your tracks, right? Which maybe this is why we are being stopped in our tracks. It's like things are coming on all too quick, all too hot, and we have to kind of maybe take a little bit more time to acclimate to all this like good energy coming in, because it's coming on way too strong, way too fast, right? So maybe there's a fast pace to it that we're just like, bro, we need to like catch up to ourselves if we haven't got enough sleep or whatever, to be able to receive all these blessings in a healthy manner, but also be in the moment of it when it arrives so that we can make better decisions for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, I mean, good sleep would do that to you. Good sleep actually definitely makes for definitely more great decisions. I would believe that to be true for sure. So anyhow, guys, I just love how that all came through, full circle, full throttle. But I think that Spirit's making me look at the no exclamation point. It's like, I think that there is something you're really going to have to say no to, adamantly so, so that you can say yes to more so of your romance in your life, or to love your life a little bit more so than not. But I really do feel like this no has a lot to do with how you're not going to be the same. You're not choosing to do the same thing over and over again, like, you know, in a toxic type of cycle or style or any of that bullshit. And you're just basically putting your boundaries up to assess the situation and to be like, this is not happening going forward. Like, I'm sensing a detachment, right? There's a detachment of sorts that's coming through. So yeah, you're gonna have to detach from something, which is also a sense of putting boundaries up so that you can kind of move forward into a more enjoyable, romantic type of, I'm gonna say either lifestyle, but also just what is natural to you, what naturally comes to you, you know, both, I guess, both. So. Alright guys, I am done for today. I will talk to you mañaners tomorrow. Bye-sies.